This week we lost a true Hollywood legend and a good soul. Robert Duvall passed away on February 15th at his home in Middleburg, Virginia. He was 95. Since his breakout role as Boo Radley in the 1962 classic To Kill a Mockingbird, he inhabited an array of unforgettable characters. The original Frank Burns in MASH, of course Tom Hagen in The Godfather, Lieutenant Colonel Bill Kilgore in Apocalypse Now.
You want to wait here for 6 hours?
And his Oscar-winning turn as Mac Sledge in 1983's Tender Mercies. He was also nominated for an Emmy for his work as the wise old Texas Ranger Gus McCrae in Lonesome Dove, a role he called American Shakespeare. In the late 1990s, he wrote and directed and produced and starred in a very personal film, I think one of his finest, The Apostle. It was filled with themes of forgiveness and redemption and faith that were really characteristic of so much of his best work. I sat down with him at his home a number of years ago, and we talked about his then latest film, Get Low, another film rooted in faith, his process as an actor, and that seamlessly endless list of iconic roles. Here's Robert Duvall.
And I want to be there.
You will be, I guarantee it.
I want to be there now.
You want to be at your funeral party alive?
Yes, sir.
But you can't have a funeral if you're not, you know, deceased.
Hold on now. It's a detail. We can look at it.
Pretty big detail.
You want to have a funeral party while you're alive so you can go.
Yes or no?
Yes. Buddy, get some paper. We need to make a list of who Mr. Bush wants to invite.
Now sit down there. I want everybody to come who's got a story to tell about me.
Let's talk for a moment about this film and this character. Felix Bush strikes me as a lot like Boo Radley.
No, not at all.
Well,
Not at all.
but
Everybody
they're
says
hermits.
that. Not even close.
Okay, what's the
To
difference?
me, not even close. The difference being, this guy could have been a lawyer, a teacher. He could have been a world traveler. He could have been, you know, whatever. He could have been many things, but he chose to be a recluse. But
He's a self-exiled
yeah,
recluse.
self. Boo Radley was a little off, you know.
But there is a tenderness beneath the expectation that the world has of these people
Yeah.
that I think is in common.
Yeah.
That there's much more beneath the surface than the world sees
Yeah, exactly.
in both of these men.
Well, and also, this is like a Horton Foote movie, and he didn't live long enough to see it. I wanted him to see it, but he died right before we started it.
Yeah.
No, during the scene I'm giving the speech.
In front of everybody
In
at
front
the
of
end.
the first day when I did it for them, my wife's off camera. She gets a message that Horton Foote just passed away. During the death scene, she got goosebumps. It was like it was full circle for To Kill a Mockingbird, all the things I did with Horton until that point.
Absolutely.
Dealing with death, he was like he was there.
You have such a long relationship with him.
Yeah.
And every project, I would argue, the ones that you've poured your heart and soul in and have been directly involved in, are Horton Foote-esque in the sense that
This was very much that way.
you have people who the world often forgets or doesn't want to think about, and yet the depth of their lives, the eternal realities that they deal with every day in small ways,
Right.
is apparent.
Exactly.
Do you sense that? Do you have a sense of that? That
You
you're
mean-
drawn to that material?
Yeah, I'm drawn to many things. I played Stalin.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he
I
wasn't
played-
exactly a tender
I played
character.
Adolf Eichmann. But still, I played different parts in military guys, but the certain parts do have that strain of humanity throughout that's very appealing as a performer and very appealing to a certain portion of the public.
Would you say that you're drawn to Southern stories more than others?
Could be. I mean, I was attached to this, and then it got off track, and they brought Charlie Mitchell in from Alabama to put those touches that made it like a Southern tale. It was wonderful.
There's a redemptive sensibility in this
Yeah.
movie and in all the best parts that you've really, I think, become renowned for, if you'll
Right.
permit me to say. Do you, as an actor, are you drawn to characters that have a sense of redemption in them and tales that are redemptive?
It happens to be that, but I don't think about it consciously or intellectually. It's just something I
But you're drawn to it nonetheless.
yeah, well, you know, yeah. interesting characters, absolutely.
I mean,
As long as there's drama and contradictions, and they're not all one thing. They're not all one thing.
speaking of drama and contradictions, one of my favorite films, I think my wife and I saw it 4 times, was The Apostle.
Yeah, exactly.
And this you wrote, you directed, you starred in.
Right. I financed
You
it.
financed, you paid the bill.
Exactly.
And therein, I mean, there are a handful of films that I think I could name, and I dare anybody else to name, that have the sense of contradiction and truth to a character, yet reveal that redemption beneath. The Apostle is littered with that, Robert.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, talk to us about the opening scene of The Apostle.
The opening scene came from, I knew a woman whose mother was a Pentecostal preacher, and she was pretty, what she did was she would get premonitions about car wrecks and highway wrecks, and would literally go down and get in the scene and preach the stoppage of blood. That quote from the Old Testament. So that's exactly, that's where I got that whole thing from.
Now listen to me now. There are angels, even in this automobile at this precise moment. He has sent his angels here to watch over you. Now, do you accept him here today? Yeah. Thank you,
Hey,
Jesus.
mister.
Thank you, Jesus.
You have to get out of there. You can't be in there. You hear me?
Yeah. Now,
Let's go.
When that ambulance gets you on your way, you're going to fly down the highway. Lord's going to have a whole flock of his angels lead you on that
Come on,
highway.
get out.
You hear me? He's going to go all the way with you. You've taken the Lord today. He's going to go all the way with you because you both are his champions here today. Praise God. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Don't have to thank me, son. Thank our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. You're in his hands now. Bless you both. Bless you both. Whenever 2 or more gathered in my name, there would I be also.
Mister, I'm sorry about this, but you got to go back to your car. You can't be out here. You're not allowed here.
I understand that.
I guess you think you accomplished something in there, huh?
I know I did.
What?
All I know is I did not put my head through that window in vain.
Well, how would you know that?
Well, I'm going to tell you. I'd rather die today and go to heaven than live to be 100 and go to hell.
So that whole script was from stories, true stories that happened within that community.
But you traveled around. You were doing documentaries in the South, in the Appalachian territory. I mean, you almost organically stew this material for a long time.
Absolutely, because I love the black preachers.
Oh, you have nothing like them.
Oh, they're one that likes the surrogate father figure to the people of their community. So yeah, I did research all over America, Los Angeles, the South, Texas, many times.
One of the things I love about that opening scene, because you see he rushes into a car wreck, he prays over this couple,
Right.
and you see what appears to be a miracle happening there.
Yeah.
Why did you put that in? Because a lot of people, even now, seeing that film, say, "Oh, this guy's just a phony. He's coasting on his ability
No,
to
he's
talk."
not a phony.
But that kind of contradicts
No,
that.
I mean,
Read.
everything's percentages. And a lot of these television preachers that start out very sincere, they go adrift.
They drift.
But there's a percentages of what's still spiritually valid and what offsets that. The guy's not a phony. I'll tell you this, and I will challenge these people. He's less of a phony than King David, that wrote the Psalms that we worship and adhere to, who sent a man off to die so he could have the wife. My guy didn't do that. He killed a guy out of like out of an impulse, really. So he's not a phony, really.
No. He struggled, and you see him struggling with that call on his life.
Yeah,
And at the
exactly.
end, in the prison,
Yeah, exactly.
he's still preaching to these guys,
Exactly.
finding redemption and sharing it with others.
Exactly.
Do you sense that in yourself? That struggle with faith?
Everybody has it. Everybody has it. Yeah, everybody has it. Yeah.
I mean, when I look at the body of your work, the whole corpus, there is a humanity, an understanding, but beneath it is this, maybe preoccupation is too strong a word, but a sense of the eternal, and that even in our mundane lives, the eternal is always here.
My kind of one of my thrusts is that we all have our journey from the cradle to the grave. And we try to do what we can do without stepping on too many toes. And my only disagreement I may have with some of these religious people, you know, about being saved. You will not go to heaven.
Once saved, always saved.
Yeah. To me, the day of judgment is not now. It's on the other side of the grave. And how can a human preacher say you're either going to go to heaven or you're not going to go to heaven? It's on the other side of the grave, the day of judgment.
It's a work in progress until
Absolutely.
that gavel
That
comes
goes
down.
on.
What's on your mind, sir?
About time for me to get low.
To get what?
Down to business. I need a funeral.
For whom?
Me.
For you. You want to buy a funeral for you?
Am I not talking right?
I'm sorry, sir. Are you sick?
Everybody dies.
All right. I see. Well, sir, the church can help you get your affairs in order. Arrange a service for you.
Well, what would you say?
About what?
Me.
Eulogy. Well, I don't know. What do you want me to say?
Say what you say right now to my face.
Well, Mr. Bush, I don't know much about you. I've heard stories, but
What story?
just stories, you know. People talking.
What kind of story? Say one.
Well, sir, my mother used to say that gossip is the devil's radio. What matters is that when you come to the end of your life, that you're ready for the next one. Now, have you made peace with God, sir?
I paid.
Mr. Bush, you can't buy forgiveness. It's free, but you do have to ask for it.
One of the things I loved about Get Low, first of all, tell me about that title, Get Low. What's your read on that?
Well, if you ask the director and everybody involved with this, they'll have a different answer. To me, to get as specific as I can, I think get low is to get down. Get down for Jesus. Get down. You're still above the ground, but you get low and find your sense of humility or whatever to get down to the basics, down to spiritual business.
And
That's what I think.
this character you play, Felix Bush, he carries this burden with him.
Yes.
I mean, he exiles himself to the
Yes.
woods. He carries this secret that we don't really learn until
Right.
much later. Well, how did you prepare for this role? I mean, this man's a loner, living alone in the woods. Did you
No, I
cordon
didn't.
yourself
No,
off from
no, I
friends
didn't.
and
No.
family?
We vacation at least once a year, usually in Argentina, where Luciano's people are from northern Argentina. And I remember that long speech and a lot of those things. I just sat facing the South American Andes, the mountains, and just contemplated and worked on it. I think working for a sense of solitude, to find that sense of solitude.
You fill these moments with this unspoken truth that isn't in the script. Nothing funny is happening in the background. It's just there.
Yeah.
How do you prepare for that?
You just do that. You just do that. You think of this, think of the character. And actually, one of the money guys from Germany, when it was all over, a German, hit it on the head that none of us had thought of. He said, this movie is a love story. It's a love story. Going back in time to the woman, everything.
Yeah, it all comes back. It comes
Yeah.
full circle.
Absolutely.
And this notion that we have to make amends before we go. We have to confess. We have to somehow deal with the stuff of life and the mistakes we make in life, too.
Absolutely. That's what he's done for many years, and he finds he has an illness, and before he really goes, he sets up and has his own funeral, a make-believe funeral before he has the real one, where he won't be there.
Yeah.
And this is based on, it's based on a real guy, but fictionalized.
Nah, I'm not a smart man or a wise one. I don't know what kind of man I am. I was always restless. Thought I'd see the world. But I didn't go nowhere on purpose because I did something I was ashamed of. Something I could never fix. Y'all probably think you know what you do or what you wouldn't, and I wish you good luck with that. I really do. When I told Charlie what I'd done, he told me to confess to God, the law, and to somebody else so as I could get forgiveness. But I didn't want forgiveness. No. I needed to hold on to what I did, to be sick from it every day of my life, so that I never told nobody else. You see, nobody.
Now, you, of course, won an Academy Award for Tender Mercies. Yeah. Another character. You find him flat, drunk, laid out at the beginning of that movie. Right. And he, too, struggles with faith, with redemption, with relationships, and finds his way out of that pit. That journey, that
and a help from a good woman.
Right, and a little boy.
Yeah, exactly.
And a song that you wrote, a couple of songs.
A few background songs, not the main ones. Yeah,
but they were.
But you know, he had a support system. When we did Crazy Heart, the part with Jeff Bridges, he didn't have a good support system. My character in the Horton Foote project had a support system that helped him, which was very good.
What was it about Horton Foote's writing and work that so attracted you? I know you were friends for many, many years, and
well, I did a play of his way back about a guy that at the neighborhood playhouse where under Sandy Meisner, where I played a drunk, and it came in and it worked. Something emotional really worked for me that they gave me this part. And Horton Foote came one night with his wife and Kim Stanley and Bob Mulligan, who directed eventually, To Kill a Mockingbird. Right. And 2 years later, when they were going to cast that movie, Lillian Foote said to Horton, his wife said, "Well, what about that young boy, that young man we saw in your play at the neighborhood playhouse? He'd be very good for Boo Radley."
And that's how you got the role.
Yeah, I want to thank Horton and his wife for that.
What a moment. And,
yes.
and since you brought Sandy Meisner up, let's talk about him for a moment.
Right.
Sandy Meisner was a member of the group theater.
Right.
He was a renowned acting teacher in New York, whom you studied with. Tell me about that technique. Meisner had a very bare bones technique in many ways.
Very bare boned. I mean, he once told me he was easier to please than Lee Strasberg at the studio, where everything was so critical. These guys were pretty critical, so you had to have arrive at a certain sense of relaxation to work under their auspices. But Sandy, what I took from him mostly, I guess, was the way of improvise, just talking and listening, the way we're doing now.
That repetition exercise.
Yeah, that came after I was there, but that's wonderful.
Really?
But this, you know that exercise?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you work with?
You worked with?
You worked with Sandy? Yeah. No.
You worked with?
No, it wasn't there when I was there.
You worked with?
What?
What?
I know that exercise, but I never. When I was there,
you worked with?
It didn't work. Yeah, you work. Yeah.
You worked with?
Yeah, you work with.
You?
You? Me?
You?
What are you looking at?
We?
Yeah, right.
That's the exercise.
Yeah.
So it goes back and forth.
It's a form of improvisation that takes you off of the text.
You throw the text away.
Yeah, right.
Do you use that kind of improvisation?
Sometimes when I direct. When I directed the Gypsy film, I used that and others. But, it's like, not so much, but, like somebody says, the more the actor studio, the other method, they come on stage with a big bag of yesterday.
Right.
Sandy was more in the moment.
Yeah, Strasberg made you go into this memory thing of your past, and you'd bring that up.
Right,
I studied with Stella Adler, who was, had her own fixations, but it was character work.
Exactly.
And you do an enormous amount of character work.
It actually has to come back to you. Shift it a certain way, and that's what Sandy says. It's a way of doing it. Rather, people say, "Do you become the character?" Well, that can be a danger. You can be in your head the character, and emotionally nothing's happening. So it's like it has to. I call it from ink to behavior. When you get a part, from ink to behavior, to find that behavior that fulfills what the character calls.
And how do you do that? Do you go when you get a role? When you get a role of a Lonesome Dove, when you're playing Gus McCrae,
my favorite.
That role lands in your lap. What do you do? What's the first thing you do?
You read the script and find out it's such a good script, you can let it take you along. And McMurtry still said we should have switched parts, and I totally disagree with him.
I do too.
And what I did was, something led me, strangely, out to West Texas, and I bumped into old Sammy Baugh, the quarterback for the Washington Redskins. He didn't know who I was. We talked for like 2 hours, because the person I was with had played football under him with the Houston Oilers, Larry Elkins. And all those gestures I got in the part were from Sammy Baugh.
One of your neighbors here, whom you worked on a project with, and you cultivate these projects, Broken Trail. A fellow here who owns an adjoining farm had written told you a story, and you encouraged him to write the script.
Yes.
He did. It became an AMC movie, beautiful movie.
AMC they won't even pick up our phone anymore.
Well,
we put them on the map.
Well, that's right. You were the first film that AMC
exactly.
did.
I
They
don't
should
know-
be ringing your phone.
I don't know what their deal is now, but
But I love that story in that you cultivated this story attracted you. It was from the earth. It was from a man who wasn't a professional writer.
no. But he had a great sense of a great ear for dialogue. It was based on the Haythorne family, the Haythorne Land and Cattle Company of Arthur, Nebraska, who actually had a horse drive in the 20s from the west to east, and I think if you really look at it, it may be better directed. I mean, better realized in some respects than even Lonesome Dove. It was very well done.
Beautifully acted.
I think the casting was even better.
Well, one of the things I love about that is your neighbor who worked on that
Right.
Screenplay, Broken Trail, he said Bob Duvall collects characters.
Yeah, I've been accused of that in the past. I would like to have a character party someday. But I love to collect characters. I do, because you learn from them in life. That's your guide. That becomes your guide. Like Sammy Ball was to a point when I did Lonesome Dove. But the script was so good that Bill Whitliff did from the novel that it just led you.
Yeah.
It was such a wonderful character on the written page, even Augustus McCrae.
You, I know, are a huge fan of an actor you worked with famously in The Godfather, Marlon Brando.
What time does my daughter leave with the bridegroom?
In a few minutes, right after they cut the cake. Now, your new son-in-law, we give him something important.
Never. Give him a living, but never discuss the family business with him. What else?
Virgil Sollozzo called. Now, we're gonna have to give him a day sometime next week.
We'll discuss him when you come back from California.
When am I going to California?
I want you to go tonight. I want you to talk to this movie big shot and settle his business with Johnny. Now, if there's nothing else, I'd like to go to my daughter's wedding.
What was it about Brando? I only met him once. You had a little more familiarity with him. Tell me about Brando, what it was like working with him and what you learned from him.
Well, what I learned was that when I did a movie, it wasn't a very good movie. It was a Horton Foote script, initially called The Chase. I learned from him that when he was having coffee, he'd have coffee, get up, do the scene, action, cut, go back to coffee, and it was all really the same. There was a sameness between when it was off camera and on camera.
A naturalness.
Yeah, something that's, people say, oh, well, he plays himself. Try it, not easy. It's not easy. And I learned that from him.
But he took great risks, and you do too, with these character choices. I mean, you look different from film to film, but it's an internal, it's not just
it's got to be, yeah.
makeup.
And I think that he finally, not that he sold out, he got tired. He was spoiled at a young age. And I always said to him, you should play Othello on stage. No. He said, it's boring. He didn't like it. And I can understand doing a play 8 times a week. And he became, maybe jaded. He didn't like his children to visit him on the set. He didn't think it's a noble profession, which I think it can be. You benefit people by doing certain parts.
Why do you do this now? You don't have to do this anymore.
No, I like it. I love it. I still like it. People offer me parts. They haven't wiped the drool yet, so why not?
Keep going.
And there's some really good parts coming my way now, if they can get the money for them.
Right. I hear you're working on La Mancha.
Yeah,
they want you to play La Mancha.
Yeah, Man from Don Quixote, which I understand recently when I was in Texas, that Larry McMurtry based some of his concepts of Lonesome Dove on Don Quixote. Somebody told me that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What else do you have in the hopper?
Well, I'm going to do a movie called 7 Days from Utopia about golf. It's kind of a nice, feel-good, kind of not a Christian movie, but a nice movie, and about golf and about, relationships. And then we're trying to get the Hatfields and McCoys off the ground. Eric Roth has written a brilliant script.
I saw that.
What a script.
I want to return to Get Low before we go. What do you want people to take away from this film?
People always ask me that, and I never know what to say. They take away whatever they get from it, a certain sense of humanity, because I don't know about message movies, but a certain sense of humanity. And like that German soccer player said, it is a love story. And none of us connected with that film had ever thought of that. It is a love story going back in time, that propelled this this ill-fated love story that propelled this man to live this hermetic life of his.
It's a beautiful film. It's one of those films.
It's a lovely
that,
film, it really
that
is.
marks you. You know, you
It's
carry
my
it with
wife's
you.
favorite film since The Apostle.
Final question: what do you want your lasting legacy to be?
Finally, maybe my journey from the cradle to the grave. I hope I did certain positive things without stepping on too many toes.
Well, you've certainly done it here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
May Robert Duvall, who did manage to step on very few toes, I might add, rest in peace. What a gentleman, what an actor. He'll be missed, and we pray for the repose of his soul.